Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of the Daily Canon Tactics Board. Stephen Bradley here bringing you the tactical tweaks and quirks that came from Arsenal's lacklustre but ultimately unsurprising 2-0 defeat to Chelsea at home in the Premier League yesterday. This afternoon. I wish it was yesterday because I would already been drunk, forgotten about this game and gone already. But yeah, this was a case of one team very much showing that it is of a calibre to become league winners this year, and one team that was missing half a team and is hoping that its young stars might be of this calibre in 2 years. It's very much a case of Chelsea being the finished article and Arsenal being anything but. And over the next 15 to 20 minutes I will display why, both with tactics graphs and heat maps and a couple of stats and so on. And if you do enjoy this video, we would very much appreciate it if you hit the like button. If you do have comments on what you see, feel free to get in touch, leave a comment underneath the video. We have a very well informed, very opinionated group, community building. We can't thank you enough for coming. Over 600 subscribers now. Never mind followers, subscribers. So many people looking forward to these videos. I can't thank you enough. And yeah, what happened today? What happened with Arsenal versus Chelsea? Well, the honest answer is Romelu Lukaku happened. It's very hard to criticise Mikel Arteta today because his best striker wasn't playing, his best centre midfielder wasn't playing, his best centre back wasn't playing, and his best secondary second back wasn't playing, his best right back wasn't playing. So, and with Martin Odegaard now signed, his best right winger probably wasn't playing either. So there's 6 players that were missing. And against a Chelsea side that won the Champions League, that was only missing Kante and that added Lukaku instead of Werner, it was always going to be a tricky game. Could Arsenal have, adapted a little bit better? Perhaps, but for the first 10-15 minutes, it wasn't all bad because Arsenal decided, to hell with it, we're pushing up. We haven't got the quickest backline in the world, but we're pushing up. And if only Chambers was playing, because good Lord, Chambers would have been there for the first goal. But Arsenal decided to push up and basically play almost 4-2-4 and force Chelsea's fullbacks back, force them to there, and in essence just dared Chelsea, go on, break our press. Get out. Find that ball between Azpilicueta and Reece James. Find that ball in between there. Martinelli was doing a great job just carrying Christensen, not giving him an ounce of time, meaning that balls were going to Mendy a lot more. And Rudiger, when the ball got to him, he's not very good on the ball. So Alonso wasn't able to, just saunter up the field like he usually would. He had to come back and actually be an outlet. So Arsenal were doing a good job of penning Chelsea in. And any time there was a misplaced clearance, Xhaka was stepping ahead of Jorginho. Sambi Lokonga who had another decent game, was doing a good job of stepping ahead of Kovacic. And Arsenal were getting into positions where they were at least threatening. Not dangerous, threatening. But Arsenal did put a lot of pressure and a high press on Chelsea for 25 minutes. But in that 25 minutes, they had one shot. And this is becoming a worrying trend for Arsenal because when they get the ball, when they get it in to these areas, they're not quick enough with it. They're just not. They're too busy looking for either Tierney or Pepe. And especially when Xhaka makes these long looping high balls over to Pepe. If Alonso is here, Rudiger is here, and they're all over here, by the time Xhaka gets his lob wedge out and hits it high, by the time it drops with snow on it, Rudiger and Alonso and Christensen have all recovered, and Pepe hasn't got that space that he once had. It needs to be drilled to Sambi and drilled to Pepe with speed and quickness. Get it out quickly. Otherwise you won't be able to exploit the space. And what happened was Arsenal weren't able to turn their transition chances into good opportunities. And at the other end, good God, were they given a lesson. Because when Chelsea had the ball, and they had a lot of it, and I mean a hell of a lot of it, as we'll see from the heat map. Well, not even the heat map. But what Chelsea were able to do brilliantly was stretch Arsenal but stretch Arsenal in ways that didn't suit Arsenal, because Arsenal had 503 touches, Chelsea had 816. And you can see by the heat map how Arsenal weren't able to get the ball into this number 10 area at all. They were too busy to get it here and ping straight out to left wing, straight out to Tierney, try and get a cross in. And look how many times Arsenal had touches inside the box. Like, that's dreadful. And it was all because Tierney would get the ball, whip it in, and hope to God that someone would get on the end of it, and no one did. And as a result, Martinelli had 13 touches in a game. Compare that to, I know Martinelli was taken off after 70 minutes, but Lukaku throughout the game had 43. And the reason why Lukaku had 43 and Martinelli had 13 was because Lukaku's always been a very good goal scorer, but what Lukaku learned under Antonio Conte at Inter Milan was that being a hold-up striker isn't just being 6'4" and big. What it means getting here, having balls drilled not to your head but to your feet, holding off, and then finding a free man and then going long. Shaquille O'Neal was wonderful at this for the LA Lakers. He would literally get the ball, because he was so big and strong, it took two men to get to him. He'd look for the free man, dish it out to the free man would shoot from 3 and score 3. Chelsea did exactly the same thing, because there are two ways to defend Lukaku. Either one, if the ball comes into him, either from Kovacic or Jorginho, because Mount would be here and Havertz would be here to run off him in these half spaces here. They give the ball to Lukaku. You do two things. One, you literally, if you're Pablo Mari, you stand back and you say, on you go. By the time you turn round, then I'll pounce. Or two, when Kovacic or Jorginho or Mount or Havertz give you the ball, you anticipate it and you get ahead of him. And then you go on with the ball and away you go. What you can't do is exactly what Mari did in the first half, which was basically be touch tight to him, but behind him. Because as soon as he did that, he was screwed. Everyone is screwed. Lukaku did this for 2 years. He bullied people for Inter Milan. Why? Because now that he's got the confidence and now he's got better technique to trap the ball and be able to pass it left or right of him. Once Mari is there, Mari is absolutely stone dead. He is now useless. He's a lamppost, nothing more. And as a result, Mount can now go here and Tierney has a decision. Tierney can do one of two things. Tierney can either respect the fact that Saka is trying to push up an Azpilicueta and stay there so that Reece James doesn't get a free run, or he can get Romelu Lukaku, he can let him play with his new toy, turn. Mount can go here, Lukaku can go here, Havertz can go here, and it's 3-on-3. So what do you do? What Tierney did was stay tight to Mount. And for 45 minutes, Reece James had all of this to himself. In the same way that we have wanted Kieran Tierney to get up and down like this. Because Tierney had to respect the fact that Mount was going to run this way, because Mari couldn't cover for Mount, and because Xhaka doesn't have the athleticism, and with Sambi over here on the right, Tierney was caught. Where does he go? And he had to make key decisions twice. And he picked the wrong one twice. Because on the first goal, Lukaku pins the man. Mount runs in. Tierney comes here. And if Cedric had been looking across his line, Reece James would have been offside. But, of course, it's Cedric, and Cedric was here. Tracking Havertz's run. Making sure that he didn't get ahead of him. James is onside. Lukaku comes in. Crosses it over. Tapping. And that's it. It's 1-0. And now Arsenal are chasing the game. And then for the second goal, it's exactly the same thing that happens. Lukaku pins Mari. Tierney now decides, right, okay, I have to close in on Mount again. There's still no one here. Ball comes in. James is free because Tierney is over here with Mount. James is free. Gets in 2-0. Game's over. Game's over. So, Arsenal were undone by a simple tactic. But because Chelsea were so dominant on the ball and weren't making any mistakes and were able to pass around Arsenal's press, and because Arsenal's inability to get the ball in central areas, Chelsea had them at arm's length all game. And it's depressing, but Chelsea are really, really good. You know, like, you look at any of this team, you know, Reece James, we'd take it at right back in a heartbeat. Any of Chelsea's three centre-backs were better than Marion Holding were today. You know, Kovacic and Jorginho, they're fine midfielders. Jorginho's in having a great time, but, you know, none of them get ahead of Kante. Havertz walks into our team. Mount walks into our team. Lukaku walks into maybe any team in the world right now. You know, this Chelsea team is a legitimate title contender. And if they play like this, Lukaku played like this for Inter Milan for 2 years, and Inter Milan waltzed to the league in the second year. We've seen this. Lukaku can have times when he doesn't play like this and he gets into sulks, and that's the Lukaku that was at Manchester United. If the Lukaku that turned up at the Emirates Stadium today turns up every week for Chelsea, Chelsea might be league favourites. So it's hard to criticise this Arsenal team for falling into the same problems and same mistakes that maybe every other team is going to run into, especially when you're without your best centre midfielder, your best two centre backs, and your best attacker. So, am I giving them a pass? No, because we saw at times when Arsenal when Tierney went up here, Saka went inside, Martinelli was there, Smith Rowe be there, Pepe be there, and they'd get into this 3-2-5 that they play, and nothing happened because, again, Tierney was the only man running. You know, like Saka, Azpilicueta did a brilliant job on Saka today. And again, that's nothing on Saka. You know, Saka got one chance to go forward, and Azpilicueta just kept backing back. And as soon as Saka made a minor mistake, ting, ball gone, and off he went. Like, this is a young team, that a young front three, and I'm willing to give them time to learn. But today, XG 2.91 to 0.34. Arsenal were outplayed by a better team. It is, you know, 20 chances created to 6 at home. Chelsea's best team came out today and thrashed Arsenal. Can you say more than that? I don't think you can. I think this is just one of those days where Arsenal, for 15 minutes, they were okay. Do they have stuff to work on? Yes. Do they need a bit more mobility up front? Yes, but honestly, this wasn't one of those days where you look at it and you go, one tactical tweak would have fixed it. Whether Aubameyang up front a little earlier would have fixed it. I just think this Chelsea team is really good, and I think this Arsenal team is bang average. Can it be fixed? It'll be. Tierney went off injured again, so we might see Tavares a bit longer there. He looked okay, but the longer Arsenal rely on this being the primary source of attack with no help, because we saw how Chelsea today did the same thing, but they did it with a centre forward that was linking up the play. There was no attempt to link the play to the centre forward today. It all went left immediately. You know, Chelsea looked like they were one step further along the plan that Arsenal are trying to do. And today could not have been a better example of that. If you did enjoy this video, again, please feel free to leave a like at the on the video. If you've got anything to say on it, leave a comment and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you want content like this popping up in your inbox on a regular basis, feel free to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you'll be alerted when these videos go in. And yeah, Man City next Saturday. Well, I'll talk to you next time, viewer. Good luck.